All right, future policymakers. You ready for a deep dive into current affairs?
Absolutely. Always ready to break down the headlines for those UPSC exams.
Perfect. It's January 31st, 2025, and we've got a lot to cover, so buckle up.
Sounds good. Where are we starting today?
So let's kick things off with a story that sounds like something out of a movie.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
We've got a nuclear-powered icebreaker colliding with a cargo vessel
Oh, okay. Sounds intense. Where did this happen?
in the Kara Sea.
The Kara Sea.
Yeah, it's pretty far north, above Siberia, actually.
Ah, right. Part of the Arctic Ocean. And not exactly known for its tropical weather, is it?
Definitely not. It's one of the coldest seas in the world, covered in ice for most of the year.
I can only imagine the conditions during that collision. So why is this significant for our UPSC folks?
Well, it points to a bigger trend, increasing Russian activity in the Arctic.
Right. Right. We've been seeing a lot about that in the news lately. Resource competition, new shipping routes opening up as the ice melts.
Exactly. And this collision, it kind of highlights the risks involved.
For sure. Tensions are running high up there. Lots of countries vying for a piece of the Arctic pie.
And it's not just about accidents, right? What about the environmental concerns?
Huge concern. The Kara Sea has a very fragile ecosystem, and it's already stressed by climate change. An oil spill there, that would be a disaster.
Yeah, the impact on marine life, indigenous communities.
Not to mention the difficulty of cleaning up a spill in such a remote and harsh environment.
UPSC gold mine right there.
Ah,
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about something a bit more positive.
sounds good to me. What have we got?
Digital inclusion. Tripura is using AI-powered language translation to break down communication barriers.
Oh, interesting. I know a little bit about this. They're utilizing the BHASHINI platform, right?
That's the one. India's ambitious initiative to bridge the language divide.
It's all about enabling communication between speakers of different Indian languages.
Exactly. Imagine government services, healthcare, legal proceedings, all accessible regardless of your language.
Huge implications for governance, education, access to information. This is definitely something UPSC aspirants should be paying attention to.
100%.
Right.
It's not just about translating words, but about promoting inclusivity and empowering citizens.
Absolutely.
All right, switching gears again. This time, we've got some potential good news on the environmental front.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
Scientists might have found a way to break down those forever chemicals.
PFAS. You're kidding?
Nope.
Wow, that's big.
Hmm.
For those who don't know, PFAS are these man-made chemicals that just don't break down in the environment.
They're everywhere, too. Non-stick cookware, firefighting foam.
And they've been linked to all sorts of health problems.
It's been a real challenge. But now, researchers have found a type of bacteria that can actually degrade certain types of PFAS.
Really? What kind of bacteria?
It's called the F11 bacteria.
F11. Interesting. Is it effective?
It's still early days, but it's a promising discovery for sure.
Definitely something to watch. This could be a huge breakthrough in tackling a major environmental challenge.
Definitely. And now let's zoom in on India's economy for a bit, specifically the MSME sector.
Okay. Always a hot topic for UPSC.
Absolutely. There's this new initiative called TEAM, and it's designed to help small businesses go digital.
TEAM. What does that stand for?
It stands for MSME, Trade Enablement, and Marketing. Basically, it's a collaboration between the Ministry of MSME and ONDC.
Ah, ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce. Right,
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So this initiative is all about providing MSMEs with the tools and training they need to thrive in the digital age.
Makes sense. Help them access wider markets, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And here's a key detail for our listeners. 50% of the targeted beneficiaries are women-led businesses.
Oh, wow. That's great. A focus on gender inclusivity.
Very much so. It aligns with the government's push for women's economic empowerment.
Smart move. Women entrepreneurs often face unique challenges in accessing finance and markets.
Absolutely. And you know what else is great about this initiative? It also encourages the formalization of MSMEs.
Which is crucial for them to access credit and other benefits.
Right. Okay, are you ready for some space news?
Always. Space is always exciting.
This one's pretty amazing. Researchers at IIT Madras have extracted silicon carbide from simulated moon soil.
Whoa, hold on. They got what? From where?
Silicon carbide from simulated moon soil.
You're serious. That's incredible.
Yeah. And, you know, silicon carbide, it's used in all sorts of things. Abrasives, semiconductors, even LEDs.
Right. But the bigger picture here is lunar resource utilization.
Exactly. Imagine We could be using materials found on the moon to build and manufacture in space.
Reduce our reliance on Earth-based resources. That's revolutionary.
It's mind-blowing, and a testament to the ingenuity of Indian scientists and engineers.
For sure, this is a story that could easily pop up in UPSC questions. Space exploration, technological advancements, it's all there.
All right, shifting gears to a policy announcement now. The government has just introduced a new mutual credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs.
Okay, back to the economy then. Tell me more.
Well, this scheme is designed to make credit more accessible to small businesses by providing guarantees on loans.
Interesting. How does it work?
It guarantees loans up to Rs 100 crore, which reduces the risk for lenders and encourages them to lend more to MSMEs.
That makes sense. MSMEs often struggle to get loans. This could be a real game changer for them.
Exactly. And for those preparing for the UPSC, this is another policy that could be analyzed from various angles: economic policy, the role of government.
And don't forget those specifics: guarantee coverage, repayment periods. Those are the details that really matter for the exam.
All right, time for an environmental concern now.
Shoot.
There's a concerning report out about the Ghaggar River.
The Ghaggar River, where's that exactly?
It starts in the Himalayas and flows through Haryana and Rajasthan.
Okay, what's the issue?
High levels of pollution. The report says it's unfit for even bathing.
Wow, that's bad. What kind of pollution? Industrial? Agricultural?
A bit of both, actually. The report specifically mentions high biochemical oxygen demand.
Ugh, BOD. That's measure of how much oxygen is consumed by microorganisms in the water. High BOD means it's heavily polluted with organic matter.
And that's bad news for aquatic life.
It creates a very hostile environment for fish and other organisms.
So not only is it an environmental problem, the Ghaggar is believed by some to be the Vedic Saraswati River.
Oh, wow. So there's a cultural and historical element to this as well.
Exactly. All right, shifting gears to international news now.
Let's hear it.
There's been a devastating drone attack on a hospital in Sudan.
Oh no, in Darfur.
Yes, in Darfur.
That region has been plagued by conflict for so long. It's heartbreaking.
It is. And this recent attack just highlights the horrific human cost of the ongoing crisis.
It's easy to get lost in the geopolitics, but we can't forget the people caught in the crossfire.
Absolutely. Behind every headline, there are real people suffering.
And for UPSC aspirants, it's a reminder to look beyond the headlines. Analyze the historical context, the root causes of the conflict.
Exactly. Understanding these complex situations is crucial for anyone aspiring to be a diplomat or policymaker.
Agreed.
Okay, let's end this segment on a more positive note. RNA therapy is emerging as a potential game changer for treating genetic disorders.
Oh, RNA therapy. I've been reading about that. It sounds very promising.
It is. It involves using RNA molecules to target specific genes or pathways involved in disease.
So it's like a more targeted and potentially safer approach than traditional gene therapy.
Exactly. And it's being explored for a wide range of conditions.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What are some specific examples?
Well, one area where it's showing real promise is in treating inherited retinal diseases.
Really? So offering hope to people facing vision loss due to genetic defects.
Exactly. It's pretty incredible.
It is. It gives me hope for the future of medicine.
Me too. And finally, we end with a story that takes us back to India's wildlife. But it's a somber one.
Oh, what's happened?
A young tigress has been found dead in Kanha Tiger Reserve.
Oh, no, that's terrible. Kanha is such an important tiger reserve.
It is. And this death, it highlights the ongoing threats to wildlife, even in protected areas.
What happened? Do they know the cause of death?
It's still under investigation, but it's a stark reminder that conservation efforts need to be constant and vigilant.
Absolutely. Every loss of biodiversity is a loss for the entire ecosystem.
And this isn't just about tigers. It's a reminder of the interconnectedness of all living things.
Very true. What happens to one species ultimately impacts us all.
And that's a good note to end this part of our deep dive on. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, but that's the beauty of current affairs, isn't it? There's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. We'll be back soon with more, so stay tuned.
Can't wait. As we jump back into our deep dive, let's circle back to the Indian economy for a moment, specifically those MSMEs. We were talking about the TEAM initiative.
Right, helping them go digital and all that.
Exactly. But there was another big development we touched on, aimed at boosting their growth as well.
You mean the Mutual Credit Guarantee Scheme?
That's the one. Guaranteeing loans up to a whopping Rs 100 crore.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial safety net for those lenders. Makes it easier for them to support small businesses.
Exactly. And remember, MSMEs, they're a major engine for the Indian economy.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Jobs, innovation, exports, they play a huge role.
This scheme, it could be a real game changer for them. But UPSC peeps, listen up.
What's up?
Don't just skim the headlines on this one.
Yeah, what should they be focusing on?
Dive into the details. What's the guarantee coverage? What are the repayment periods like? Any fees involved? You got to know the specifics.
With nuances. Those are the things that can make or break your answers in the exam.
Couldn't agree more. It's about demonstrating that deep analytical understanding.
So moving on, let's go back to the Ghaggar River for a bit.
The pollution issue.
Yeah. We were discussing the high levels of BOD, biochemical oxygen demand.
Right.
What exactly does that mean for the river? For the life in it?
Well, it basically means the water is overloaded with organic matter. And as microorganisms break that down, they use up the oxygen in the water.
Leaving less for the fish and everything else.
Exactly. Creates a pretty suffocating environment for aquatic life.
It's a sad situation, especially when you consider the cultural significance of the Ghaggar.
You mean its possible link to the Vedic Saraswati River?
That's right. It's not just an environmental issue, you know.
Definitely adds another layer of concern to the whole thing.
Okay, let's shift focus now from India to a region facing a very different kind of crisis. Darfur?
That drone attack on the hospital?
Yeah, it's just devastating.
Darfur has been struggling with conflict for decades now. It's a complex situation.
So easy to get caught up in the geopolitics, but it's crucial to remember.
The human cost.
Exactly.
And for our UPSC folks out there, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier.
Going beyond the headlines.
Exactly. Don't just focus on the immediate event.
What should they be thinking about?
Analyze the historical context, the root causes. What are the factors driving this conflict?
Right. It's about understanding those complex realities.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's move on to something a little more hopeful now. RNA therapy. We touched on it earlier.
Oh, yeah. That new frontier in medicine.
It's pretty incredible stuff.
It's definitely exciting. Using RNA molecules to target specific genes.
Right. And, you know, it has the potential to be so much safer than traditional gene therapy.
And it's being explored for so many different conditions, too, right?
Oh, yeah. But one area where it's really showing promise is in treating.
Inherited retinal diseases.
Giving hope to people who are facing vision loss.
That's remarkable. It really is.
All right, let's head back to India's wildlife now.
You mean back to Kanha,
Yes, that young tigress we were discussing.
the one found dead?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Such a shame. Especially in a protected area like that.
It really emphasizes the need for constant vigilance when it comes to conservation efforts.
Absolutely. And it's a good reminder for our listeners preparing for those UPSC exams.
What do you mean?
This incident, it ties into so many relevant topics. Wildlife conservation, the effectiveness of protected areas.
The challenges of balancing development with environmental protection.
Exactly. And the impact of human activities on delicate ecosystems.
It's all connected.
It really is. It really is amazing to think about how far medical science has come. RNA therapy could really change things for the better.
It really could. But for now, let's come back down to earth, literally. We were talking about silicon carbide,
Oh, right. The stuff from the moon.
extracted from simulated moon soil, to be precise, by those brilliant researchers at IIT Madras.
And silicon carbide, it's used in so many things, right?
It really is. Abrasives, semiconductors, those super bright LEDs, the list goes on.
And now the possibility of getting it directly from the moon?
It's revolutionary. Think about it. Lunar outposts, maybe even manufacturing, all powered by lunar resources.
Less reliance on Earth, more sustainable space exploration.
It's incredible what they've achieved.
A research project that started in a lab could change how we approach space travel forever. And speaking of pushing boundaries,
You're thinking about BHASHINI,
that's the one. Bridging the digital divide, one language at a time.
breaking down communication barriers, making information accessible to everyone, no matter what language they speak.
And think about the impact on governance, education, healthcare.
Imagine government websites, healthcare info, legal documents, all available in every Indian language.
It's a truly inclusive approach, a commitment to leaving no one behind in the digital age.
A fantastic example of how technology can be used for good. But before we wrap things up,
We have one last story to discuss.
sadly, yes. Back to Kanha Tiger Reserve, that young tigress.
Oh no, did they figure out what happened?
The investigation is still ongoing, but regardless of the cause.
It's a reminder that we can never let our guard down when it comes to protecting wildlife.
Even in protected areas, threats still exist. It's a loss for the entire ecosystem.
And it emphasizes the interconnectedness of all living things.
What impacts one species impacts us all.
And that's something to keep in mind as we move forward, not just in terms of conservation, but in all aspects of our lives.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. From geopolitical tensions and technological breakthroughs to environmental concerns and human tragedies.
We've covered a lot.
But remember, future policymakers, staying informed is just the first step.
The real challenge, the real skill,
Lies in analyzing what you learn, connecting those dots, forming your own informed opinion.
Think critically, question assumptions, and don't be afraid to explore different perspectives.
The world needs more critical thinkers.
Absolutely.
So keep learning, keep questioning, and keep striving for excellence. Until next time, happy studying and good luck with those UPSC exams.
See you next time.